chat messages. I have all of it. Post on social media. I have it all. I won't talk about it if I don't have it. So let's rewind to the governor campaign, shall we? Let's go back to a time when I was running as an educator from South Georgia who took an unpaid leave of absence and lost $30,000 out of my own pocket to run for the state of Georgia. Let's talk, to take it back to there, and let's talk about people who now say they're huge Trump supporters, or they'll say that they're huge grassroots people. Let's remember, nobody ran in my race that was grassroots. Well, I shouldn't say that, because I think Catherine Davis was probably grassroots and another guy that got in last minute. But David Perdue and Brian Kemp are not grassroots. So these are people who call themselves grassroots, okay? And they did everything they could do to lie about me and to destroy me as a person. From open records requests, to lying about my job, to lying about my family, everything they could do, okay? I have all the receipts. I was badgered. My campaign staff was badgered. Now, they were none of them paid, unpaid. They were badgered. They were lied about. I had a 15-year-old on my campaign who was attacked, lies, and slander over and over by these same people. One of the front runners of these people is a woman by the name of Sarah Thompson. Sarah Thompson had a page, a Savannah page, Chatham County page, that she continued to post on over and over and over and over. And see, I couldn't do anything because I'm perceived as a public figure. So I couldn't expose it. I couldn't sue her. I couldn't do anything. But the funny thing is Sarah, she went and she signed to be on the presidential ballot as a presidential candidate. So when she signed that paperwork, she came out publicly in a Signal group and she said, Sarah for president, and said that she signed the paperwork. So then she made herself a public figure as well. And what I'm saying is truth. I have the receipts. So can't be slander, can't be defamation if you're speaking the truth. So when you lie. But see, she lied over and over and over about me. She harassed me. She harassed my staff. She said lies constantly. In fact, Sarah could even be said that she might have contributed to the attempted murder on my family from a swatting that happened because somebody was delusional enough to believe lies that they called in a false accusation and had my house swatted and weaponization of law enforcement against my family. Sarah Thompson did that. She did all of that. And I was supposed to forgive her, which I have forgiven her, but I'm supposed to be in Signal groups with her while she tricks and lies and fools everybody around me who are my volunteers that I love. That's hard. That's really hard. That's hard for me to sit here and watch her hurt my people. So I got out of some Signal groups because the Lord told me, you can't control it. Get out. They've got to see for themselves. So I removed myself and I pray for them to see the truth. See, Sarah started this whole movement about an incorporation issue with the Georgia Republican Party that's not real. It's blown up. It's something that is being dealt with legally by attorneys, which she's not one. And it's making a huge distraction in our party. Huge distraction. We have to elect a president this year. If we don't elect a president this year, then we're going to lose America. That's simple. And so instead of putting our efforts there and toward our electors who were indicted by Fani Willis, instead of doing that, or instead of supporting our Senator Colton Moore, who stood up, and Charlize Byrd, our representative, who stood up, we're distracted with nonsense. And I'm sick of hearing it. I've talked to the attorneys. I've read the documentation. The Democrat Party incorporated the same way. So if we're wrong, they're wrong. It's a non-issue. It's being handled. It is so dumb, okay? It's dumb to talk about because it's a waste of energy. We can spin around and chase our tail talking about nonsense over and over and over, and we can lose 2024. Oh, but Candace, we still have the voting machines we don't trust. We can't just, ignore that. No, you're right. We should be at board meetings, Board of Election meetings, commissioner meetings. We should be at the Capitol every day talking to our legislators. We should be calling them and emailing them and saying, this is what we care about. We want to count our vote. We want to hand mark paper ballots. We want to count it by hand. And then we want to reconcile it with the machine, scanning it. And we want to see if the counts match. We want to make sure our vote counts. We should be focused on that. That is how we win 2024. Oh, but no. We're going to push people to print out Substacks, and we're going to go in signal groups, and we're going to say they're hiding stuff, and it's a conspiracy. Listen, nobody will appreciate a conspiracy, good old conspiracy, more than Candace Taylor, okay? That is not a conspiracy. That is division and chaos. The enemy always comes to divide and conquer, and the enemy is the author of chaos. I love you. This is why I'm telling you this. Stop believing the nonsense. It's a distraction. So moving on, while I was running for governor, someone else just so happened to start supporting another candidate, Vernon Jones. And his name was Brian Pritchard. And Brian started posting negative things about me here and there. People would screenshot it, send it to me. Like I said, I have the receipts. And show me screenshots, show me private messages, show me things he was saying. And my best friend in the world, Stu Peters Network, Stu, millions of followers, he single-handedly exposed Vernon Jones for what he is. Well, apparently it didn't sit well with Brian Pritchard. So Brian had me on his show, and while I was on his show, he had me come on. I was in the mountains. I was actually in Raven County, and I was campaigning, and I took time out of my day. I was doing a bus tour. I was place to place, and I took time out of my day to give Brian an interview. I mean, Brian had no followers, literally maybe 10. And I went on there out of the goodness of my heart because he was a local Georgia podcast. And I want to honor people who are conservatives and who are trying to make better for themselves. So I took time out to go on there. And I've been on there before, and he'd done fine. So I go on there. My husband, if y'all know my husband, he doesn't get angry. He listened in the room as Brian interviewed me, right after he'd interviewed Vernon, mind you. And he gave Vernon this softball interview, so easy. I have the interview, by the way, if you want to watch it. If you don't believe me, I'll be glad to show you. And if you're my supporter, you will never like Brian Pritchard again, promise. He gave Vernon these softball questions. And he gets to me, and he comes out on and on and on, trying to force me to say something incriminating. Okay? Well, I've never tried smoking a cigarette. So I don't have incrimination in me. I've not done anything. So he couldn't. Okay, couldn't get me. And my husband was so mad, he was going, get off. Like he was done. So I didn't interview with Brian again during the governor race. And so when Brian started running for first vice chair, he was worried that I was going to stand up against him and I was going to expose him and I was going to tell everybody. And I know he was worried because he was extra nice, almost apologetic, and I'm a forgiving person. So I thought, you know what? I'm not going to expose him. I'm not. I'm going to let him have his chance. If he wants to do something for the Republican Party, the people need to choose. In fact, I would say at least a third of the delegates reached out to me personally. We're talking about 700-800 people personally to ask me if they should vote for him or Marcy McCarthy. And I wouldn't endorse in that race. And I wouldn't say anything bad about Brian. I wouldn't tell the truth. I just didn't say anything. Could have. I didn't. And I didn't because Ryan said, my husband, he said, let the people choose. You don't need to try to control this. Let them choose. And I had a lot of delegates, way more than 700. Over half the people there were my supporters. And so I could have easily told the truth. Probably wouldn't have won the seat. I would venture to say that, not because of me, because the people trust me, because I love them. I love you. And I'm going to stand for you, and I'm going to fight for you. That's why I'm here. Otherwise, I need to sit down and not be here anymore. So I said, Brian's interviewed me before. We're good. Listen to what he has to say. Vote for who you want. Brian was so nice that my husband even voted for him. Ryan forgave him totally and voted for him. Okay? So I think everything's great. I didn't vote for David Cross. I voted for Brant Frost. I endorsed him. Brant had been very good to me during the campaign and helped me like, hey, Candace, this event's going on, that event's going on. So I had a great relationship with him. And honestly, I was a little bit concerned about getting all new people on the executive board of the GOP. So I didn't, I supported Brant. But when David won, I thought, okay, David's a good guy. He's done election integrity stuff. The grassroots loves him. I haven't had a lot of conversation with him. And I got receipts of people sending me stuff he said bad about me during the governor race. And he supported David Perdue. And he said things about me being a woman and different things that were pretty ugly. But I didn't share that with anybody. I didn't. Could have done that and helped Brant, but I didn't. And I thought, okay, this is going to be good moving forward. Let's move forward. Everything will be good. Well, they get elected. And the first thing is everybody starts asking David, will he travel around the state? And they want to hear from him because he's big on election integrity. He's big on let's get rid of the machines and let's go to paper ballots. And he said this to numerous people, but he said it to me. And he said, I cannot travel this whole state. I don't have time for that. I've got to do work. And what I'm thinking is work. He's got to work on election integrity stuff and data or whatever. And I said, okay, well, you're going to have to explain that to the people because they're going to expect you to travel and go around the state or whatever. He said, I just can't do it. I can't do all that. Well, I'm thinking in my brain, like, I travel the state still all the time. I've spent already in the last year, $3,500, well, just in the last 10 months out of my own pocket, just in gas, just traveling for events and speaking in front of people. So I didn't agree with that, but I saw fruit of that today in an email that he sent out because he said he didn't understand why he had to come to the 1st District to do a state committee meeting. So let me help y'all understand something. We have 14 districts in Georgia, and I think apparently for years they've always met in Atlanta. A lot of the time they met in Atlanta. And so Josh McCoon, our GOP chair, he wanted to start having meetings in every district because he wants everybody to feel like they get to host, they get to be a part, they could do a fundraiser while the state committee comes down, and everybody travels. It's not just everybody traveling across the state there. So then I'm driving 5 hours. We spread the love. Okay. Well, David didn't agree. Like today, he sent this email out and he said, why do we have to have it in the 1st District and me drive 10 hours? Are you kidding me? Do you know how many times I've already driven up to Atlanta area and North Georgia? Do you understand that? They don't care as long as they don't have to do it. You're second vice chair. You should be traveling anyway. All right, let's go back. So after they were elected, we started having some issue with the whole Colton Moore situation, and we wanted to see the GOP come out and really support him. A bunch of us, grassroots people. And we also wanted resolutions. I had worked on resolutions at state committee. The resolutions had not been passed yet, and we wanted the resolutions to be passed. So we got together, and actually I didn't get together. I was texted at night in my bed. It was like 10:30, and asked, would I sign this piece of paper saying that a call for a meeting for us to do the resolutions and for us to do a statement supporting Colton. And it was late at night. I honestly wasn't thinking, hey, I should ask Josh just to call the meeting before I signed this demanding a meeting. Like, I never thought about Josh. I never thought about, let's do it that way. I just thought, yeah, we should have a meeting. I'll sign it. Well, Brian Preacher and David Cross had already confirmed they were going to sign it before I ever came on to sign it. But they never signed it. And so what ended up happening was we needed 2 more signatures, and it ended up dying. And so we never had the meeting. But in the meantime, I talked to some people that work at the GOP, and I told them, I said, you know, if Josh will call the meeting, we'll just cancel this anyway, because we just want the meeting. And they said, okay, we'll get the meeting called. I said, well, if y'all call the meeting, we'll take our names off. So I don't know how that got to Brian Pritchard, but instead of him telling the truth and saying that I said, if Josh will call the meeting, we'll all take our name off, he said to people, you can't trust Candace Taylor. She's going to remove her name from that. She's caving. She's going to remove her name from that. And this came from at least 5 people. I've got all the screenshots of the text messages, and I wrote down people's name that called me, that told me he told them directly that I was going to take my name off. Dude, you never even signed it yourself. If you never signed it yourself, why are you telling people I'm going to take my name off? How does that make any sense at all? How? So then I was speaking in North Georgia, and somebody asked me about that called meeting, and I said, you know, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, and we shouldn't be double-minded. Yes is yes, your no is no. If you say you're going to sign something, sign it. If you're not, you're not. And I was speaking about Brian Pritchard primarily. I mean, David didn't sign it either. Brian's the one that went and ran his mouth. And somebody went back and told Brian, the devil or something. And I have the video I recorded. My grandfather told me, his word is all you have. And so if you give your word to something, it. If you say you're grassroots, you probably should sign something for the grassroots, and Sally shouldn't have. But that wasn't the case. See, Sally signed it like she said she would. But then in all the signal groups, it's been said that Sally can't be trusted, that Sally has done this and Sally's done that. Sally ain't done none of that. None of it. I'm in the groups. I know. I would tell you 100% if she didn't. In fact, I'd be the first person that would say, don't trust her. It's a lie, and it's actually defamation, and she could have a lawsuit. It's ridiculous what's been said about her. Ridiculous. Let's move on to Josh McCoon. Josh has never lied to me. Never. Now, is Josh trying to make peace with the Republicans in the state? Absolutely. He's trying to take people that me and you think aren't representing us, that we really would like to see primaried. He's trying to take them and us and help us come together and elect a Republican. Is that not what we elected him to do? It's what I tell you. I didn't run for GOP chair. I haven't to go across the aisle and mesh this party. And God needed somebody to do that. And that's what Josh... I got so mad when Brian Pritchard lied twice about me. after I forgave him for attacking me during the governor race, I went to Josh. I said, how do I get rid of him? I'll whip the votes. He said, please don't. Please don't. We have got to unify this party. Please don't, Candace. That was that. Nothing else was said about it. In fact, nothing was ever said about it again until David and Brian committee meeting. Yes, they are. I said, who? Who? I said, y'all people on the that I respect, that I get along with, that love Brian Kemp, that probably care if the election was rigged and have they said something about getting rid of them? I don't know because I don't talk to them. But Josh McCoon has not. In fact, he's defending them over to breeding division and chaos. He says that Josh was behind it. Brian gets on his show and badmouth sacrificing his own time where he is not working. He's handling GOP drama all day, every day. I would right now should be done. It should be Josh McCoon. It is ridiculous. So in right now. I'm telling you, I love you. And if it's not a lie, show the receipt. Peace in this party. I want peace. I want unity. Democrat or Republican wins, I do not care. I want them fair and legal. I want our focus on saving this constitutional republic. Really? I want you to ask your how much time you're wasting on nonsense. But you could be putting forth energy into advancing the kingdom of, but instead, nonsense because I love you. I love you. 100 would never cover up anything. I would never lie. Y'all have asked me over and over and over, and I have tried to gently calm you down, gently tell you a piece of it to pacify you, to keep everybody. And one of my constituents went on the air, repeated what was told to him. not knowing any better. And David Cross weaponized it against this innocent man in his radio station. Josh McCoon is so gracious. Called and explained today that he was sorry and he didn't know something he didn't do, and he instantly forgave. He's an attorney. He can file a lawsuit. He didn't. He is a good man. He was chosen by the people because God put it on his heart to run. And until somebody proves otherwise, or until Josh lies to me and I see something otherwise, he will have my 100% support. And I will 100% expose anybody who comes against him telling lies. Because his wife is my friend. She is a good woman. And I know how painful it is for your husband to be attacked and you feel helpless, like you can't do anything about it. So y'all should pray for Jacqueline. You should pray for her. You should pray for Josh. And you should tell anybody that comes to you with gossip that they don't have receipts for to shut their mouth. We're at war. Quit acting like a Democrat. We are Republicans. We love Jesus. Act like it. Do not put up with it. The Lord expects better from us. We should be acting more like him every day. So I'm on here telling truth because I'm a truth teller. I have no problem with confrontation. I welcome it. I have no problem telling the truth. I will speak the truth every day, all day. If it makes you upset, I don't care. I don't. Because there's no peace without truth. You can't just say, I'm a peacemaker. I want to keep peace. I want to keep peace. I want to keep peace. And there's chaos and division and literal Satan in the background causing division, causing problems. No, you address it with a sword of truth. And I'm going to close with this. No plans to remove David and Brian. No plans. But the power of life and death is in your tongue. And the Bible says, be careful what you speak because you will eat the fruit of it. So I don't know if they want to be a martyr and cause more of a distraction. But what I want them to do is to shut their mouth, do their job as first and second vice chair, and do it to the best of their ability and unite this party and retract that lying email and apologize publicly to Josh and everybody else. And let's move on. That's what I want to see happen. I want to see if they're man enough to do that. Because obviously, all you have is your word. So I'm sorry I had a hard message tonight. I love you. I've said I love you over and over because I do. And I'm here for you. And I hope you know that. If you need me, you know how to get me. And I'm going to pray before we leave. Jesus, bless everybody.